ಬಂತು. ಹಾಂ, ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ದಟ್ಸ್ ಗುಡ್ ಎನಫ್. ಓಕೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ನೀನೇ ಅದನ್ನು ನನಗೆ ಇದು ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡು ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಅಥವಾ ನಾನು ನನಗೆ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Can you hear me, sir, properly?
Yeah, I can hear you. Is it Dr. Chanesh?
Yes, sir. Dr. Chanesh is
Yeah,
here
yeah.
already.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Vinod, President, Indian Gherkin Exporters Association. Thanks for agreeing to give us insights about the understanding of soil for future generation on World Soil Health Day.
Thank you.
Now, in another 5 minutes, we will exactly at 10:30 we'll start, sir. Let's wait till all other people will join.
Some people will be joining on YouTube also, Lakshmish.
Yes, sir. YouTube already live is available. Live streaming is there.
Yeah.
You can definitely can.
Yeah.
ಸರ್, ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ನಿಮ್ದು ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಎರಡು ಆನ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಡಬಲ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾರೆ ವಿನೋದ್ ಸರ್ ನಿಮ್ದು. ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ.
ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ ನಾನು. ಐ ಜಾಯಿನ್ಡ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಇದು ನೀವು ಪಾಸ್ಕೋಡ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನ ಇದ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
ಟೂ ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ ನಂದನು. ಒಂದು ಅದೇ ಝೂಮಲ್ಲಿ. ಓಕೆ. ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಸರ್ ನೀವು?
ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ.
ಲ್ಯಾಗ್ ಇದೆ ನಾನು ಮಾತಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ದು ಇದಕ್ಕೂ.
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಮಾತಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲ.
ಅದೇ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ನಾನು ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್.
Lakshmi, 10:30 ಗೆ correct start ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡೋಣ.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ramesh, I'm just waiting for Ramesh sir to join. Once he is joined, then we'll start sir, immediately.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಟ್ರಾವೆಲಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲೋ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ವೇಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಹಿಮ್.
ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ ಸರ್, ಈಗ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
ಹೌದಾ? ಓಕೆ.
ಎಸ್ ಸರ್, ವಿಲ್ Ramesh sir, are you online? I think we'll start, sir. Welcome to all for today's session, Understanding the Soil for Future Generation. If Ramesh sir is there, now I welcome Ramesh sir for the welcome speech. Sir, are you online, sir?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, sir. Sir, Ramesh sir, the Agri Committee Chairperson, IGEA, now is online. I request him to have a welcome speech, sir. To Ramesh sir.
Thank you very much, Lakshmesh. Appreciate and apologies if people are waiting. Anyhow, it's 10:32, 2 minutes delay. We have the opportunity today to speak to Dr. T.S. Channesh. Dr. Channesh will address you on the soil. Soil is most important, okay? The future of life. If there is no soil, there's no life. So I won't be talking much on the soil. Dr. Channesh is a specialist, and he will tell you about the soil. To just tell you of the background of Channesh, Dr. Channesh worked very, very widely in different capacities. He was in the Indian Institute of Science. He's formed his own organization, and I leave it to Dr. Channesh, who is just known to me recently, to tell about him and to continue the understanding of soil for the future generation. Thank you very much, everybody. And we'll over to Dr. Channesh for his guidance. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramesh sir. A brief introduction about Dr. T.S. Channesh. It's my privilege to introduce him. Dr. T.S. Channesh, Director, Center for Public Understanding of Sciences, Bangalore. Dr. T.S. Channesh is a renowned soil scientist and one of the Karnataka's foremost science communicator. A PhD graduate from UAS Bangalore, he has served as a scientist at Karnataka State Council for Science and Technology, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. Head of History of Science at Kannada University, Hampi. Research Director at Mount Carmel Center for Advanced Scientific Research. Soil Scientist at KVK Chintamani. A visiting professor at Karnataka Folkvore University and a founding dean of GPS Institute of Agriculture Management. He has also been long-time technical consultant to EnvirPro Solutions Private Limited. He developed India's first farmer-friendly on-farm soil testing kit and has guided 20 research scholars. With 1,500 plus scientific articles, 15 books, 30 research papers, and 100 plus All India Radio talks. His writings are included in multiple university textbooks. Awards and recognition. Best Agriculture Science Writer, KSTA 2010. Best Agri-Science Book Award, UAS Bangalore 2016. Vachana and Vaicharika Sahitya Parishattu, Bettaduru Pratisthana. Best Science Writer, KSTA 2019. BGL Swami Memorial Award 2019. Welcome to Dr. Channesh, sir. Now, form is yours, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Lakshmish, for a warm welcome as well. Very nice feeling about me. We have been associated for decades, so it's a very happy thing that I want to share my views about soils. I'll begin with not a statement. Kindly change this slide. Lakshmi, change the slide. Yeah. The speak to soil, speak to the earth, and it will teach you. I'll begin with this. This is not an emotional statement or just a phrase. This is interestingly life and time of a very interesting scientist and a paleontologist by name Earl Douglas. In fact, he served as one of the interesting paleontologists to understand the Jurassic era. He was a phenomenal scientist to collect the dinosaur bones over 100 years ago. His notes and diaries were compiled by his son Gavin and made a book, and he called it as Speak to the Earth and It Will Teach You. In fact, speaking to the earth was a kind of association of the paleontologist. And what it has taught him has been his notes, and that is available as a book by name Speak to the Earth and It Will Teach You. Why I'm saying this? To understand the soil, to understand the soil in response to the human interest. We need to speak to the earth. Are we doing it? You may ask me a question that are we not understanding the soil? Because since 1960s, that is since the Green Revolution era, we have been feeding the world, and almost we have, particularly in India, we have achieved the food security. That means to say we must have understood the soil. In my opinion, to understand the soil for future generation is of a kind of a different approach. We have not understood in a way that it has been understood. We have exploited, we have utilized, we have used soils than understanding it. Next slide, please. So, in order to understand it, what we know to know about it is the issue of the matter which I wish to share you today. We are the Homo sapiens. Among us, the primatic evolution, human evolution, we evolved as a Homo sapien with a very different human lineage. And we have been as Homo sapiens are existing on Earth since about 2 to 2.5 lakh years. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So that means in the journey of 2 lakh plus years, our plate meal has changed. Our food perception has changed. Our food consumption has changed. We have evolved about 2 lakh years ago. But for the first 1.5 lakh years, we never had a speech. Our speech is evolved something around 50,000 years ago. And we have started farming about 10 to 12,000 years. Our modern civilization has started only about 5,000 years ago. The real scientific development has started about 500 to 600 years. Out of that, again, the last 200 years has been a very phenomenal development as a tool. It is true with the soils, it is true with agriculture, it is true with nature in general. That means since we evolved about 2 lakh plus years ago, our plate meal, our food has been changed enormously. We have been acquainted to the various different types of food Earlier, we used to eat only the things available around us. Next slide, please. In the evolution of human being, in the evolution of Homo sapiens, next slide. Earlier, the Homo sapiens are evolved somewhere in Africa, southern Africa. When they started moving towards north of America, Africa, they started moving to the different parts of the world. Incidentally, if you try to know the Indian population, we are here in the last 50, 70,000 years ago. While passing through the area between the Mediterranean Sea and Caspian Sea, which is now called as the Fertile Crescent. Instead, the Fertile Crescent, it is in the shape of half.
Sir, your voice is breaking, sir. Hello.
Crescent moon shape. That fertile crescent has is something very interesting, and it yielding something. Hello,
Voice is breaking sometimes.
I don't know. Okay,
Yes,
now
sir.
is it okay?
Yeah,
Shall I
sure.
continue?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, yeah. They started entering to the other parts of the world. They started entering to the other continents. While passing through, they have passed through a place between the Caspian Sea and the Mediterranean Sea, which is now called as a fertile crescent, which is in half moon shaped between the Nile and Tigris River. It is half moon shaped, and they, in fact, the first agriculture, the human who have understood that soil or the land that is responsible for our food, and it can be done by reproducing it. So the farming has started in this area. With that knowledge, they moved to the other parts of the world. The Indians are here since 70,000 years. And much later, the other populations have moved to the different parts of the world. For example, very recent population we might find in America. They are about 12,000 to 15,000 years ago. Next slide, please. So while moving like this, they understood the various different types of food, as well different types of plants, as well different types of environment, as well different types of perception of soil. So that when they moved from place to place, their perception, their understanding about the food as well, the land was gained enormously, and they passed with their memory with the different population altogether. Let us know why. Of course, the land as such is the earth. Earth, it's about 6,370 kilometers radius, about 5 kilometers, 35 kilometers is 630, sorry, 6,300 plus kilometers depth soil, depth earth. Only the 1 meter plus layer is the soil that's supporting to the life altogether. That means out plus kilometers depth. Only 1 kilometer, 1 meter depth is the soil that is responsible for the whole life altogether. That means the crust, which is the hardest part, its layer is the only which is of our importance today, and that is being continuously exploited, continuously overexploited. Next slide, please. So that means we need to understand only the top layer of 5 to 35 kilometers is the hardest part, out of which only 1 meter is the soil. That hard crust itself is being under disturbance, which we'll come to know in future slides. How does a human started to inquire about the soil? It was in 1840, the first ever book published on organic chemistry and agricultural physiology by Justus van Liebig. He was the first to inquire that what is that soil is doing to produce food what we eat. It was him who designed that plants or the animals require a kind of elements, and if they fall short of them, they will be of different health, and if you supplement, they'll gain the health. This was the limitation of the law and of nutrients that Justice Van Liebig has. In the same time, during 1842, John Bennett was the first person to develop the very first superphosphate fertilizer. And the phosphate fertilizer, which was developed during 1842, almost 100 long years, which was continuously used without understanding or without to say here is that the century long understanding of particularly the soil is to supply something to exploit it. What I mean to say otherwise is we as farmers or even soil scientists, the only understanding is what is that soil is supplying, and to make it sufficient, what is that we want to give it to you. That means, in a way, how much fertilizer for how long we should supply. That is the major understanding of the soil. Next slide, please. Further, another scientist by name Dikoshu, he questioned it in a different way. Of course, soil is doing that, but how does that soil is formed? He questioned it that way. That means he made a remarkable pattern of understanding the evolution of soil. Soil is being continuously evolved like human beings or like organisms. Soil is not an ultimate product on the earth surface. It is evolving. That is the reason why we have young soils, we have old soils, we have soils of different kind. He identified five major factors that make parent material or the rock to evolve into a product called soil that supports the life. And to make soil as what is fertile or what is supporting today to the life is essentially taken help from the life also. That means to say, to form soil, life is required. For the life, soil is required. That kind of association it was. Next slide, please. It was, in fact, he made a very interesting statement in late 19, early 1900 that parent material being a blank paper on which climate writes as it desires. That is the first ever scientific record on to initiate the climate change, understanding of climate change and things like that. So now, further, that was further understood or further tried to scientifically evolve with another Russian scientist by Vladimir Vygotsky, and he is the founder of biogeochemistry. It is a very interesting branch of science. Here it has biology, it has geology, it has chemistry. It is biogeochemistry. This is very pertinent to particularly to understand the soil. That gives a complete picture of the soil which has bio. Next slide, please. So this biogeochemistry further is completely supported by another scientist called Hilgard, who is now who is been otherwise known as father of modern soil science. He made it how the climate and chemistry are make the things possible in the soil. Next slide, please. People, particularly in 21st century, using this Hilgard as revisiting the Hilgard to understand the better benefit of the society. What has happened is we now everybody is feeling that soil is under a systematic problem. Systematic problem in the sense the various parts have the different problems. So we need to revisit the Hilgard. Revisiting Hilgard means the way Hilgard explained soil science, the way Hilgard views soil science, this is being approached in many parts of the world. Unfortunately, we in academic discourse in India also it is not being taken very seriously. And as soil, it has got a tremendous supporting system by various other branches and various other environmental issues. There are six major land related aspects which are supposed to bound to make soil as secured, soil as a sustainable. They are actually entirely they are mutually independent, mutually supporting each other. That is food security, climate security, biodiversity protection, ecosystem service, energy sustainability, and things like that. They are fragmented and now they are not united to understand the soil altogether in a simple manner, but they are they are applied, they are understood in fragmented states. Next slide, please. So, in order to have the soil the most sustainable issue, we need to have the complete perception, complete understanding of the soil. Then, how is the perception of this land? How is the what is the how the perception land is evolved? It is very ridiculous that to state, but the perception of land is not in the manner it's supposed to be. From Columbus to the corporator, I call it as a corporator because much of the land is being politically exploited. Even today, from Columbus to the person to the present corporators, land perception is only political. Land perception is only for personal gains. Personal gains is individually but human being gains. In fact, Columbus went in search of India and got into the America. 4 times he went. He made voyages. First 3 times he went as a king. Fourth time in 1502 he was sent as with he was chained to his legs by the Queen Isabella. That means why he was sent for the fourth time is to exploit, to find gold, to find resources. What all I am saying here is 15th century that made to pursue land only for the political interest, only for the gains, and that's being continued till today. Next slide, please. That's it. That's what I'm feeling. What I'm sharing with you is that our understanding of our understanding of the soil, our understanding of the land, our perception of the land is only for a personal gain. Personal gain is to the extent that it is individual gain, not to the community gain at all. With respect to the soil, if you just try to look at it, in Buddhayana, Dharma Sutra, it said it is impossible for one to find salvation in town which covered dust. So what it supports with the soil in that even in the Bible, Genesis, the first book, it is said human beings are formed out of man, they're formed out of soil, and that is their breathing. And a 15th century Kannada poet, Purandaradasa, who also composed, which is read like Manninda Kaya Manninda, etc. It is the soil that makes the soul of the body and for everything. Even he claims that Kailasa, Vaikunta, everything is made out of soil. He tried to philosophically convince people of his followers through his poems that everything is made of soil. And so it is said our human life is woven and earthen looms and it smells of the clay everywhere. Next slide, please. So our perception philosophically is very interesting, but when it comes to the personal, it is very, very indifferent. The early 20th century, one very interesting British novelist, Edward Hine, who published a book by it called as Soil and Civilization. He identifies many cultural lapses in understanding of the soil across the world. Particularly with respect to the Indian soils, he identifies a typical revenue, only the soil is owned by the revenue department. I mean, the sense, whoever, even farmer, is called as the owner of the land, but is not the real owner of the land. Any decision on earth, any decision on surface of the soil, any decision on it is a revenue decision. Farmer alone cannot make it. See, that's why we are all tenants on the land. Government is the real owner, right? Government in the sense that is the revenue department. And whatever the conversion, acquisition, we never had a land acquisition ministry earlier, but now we have a land acquisition ministry. That means government, if it wishes, it can take away your land. Next slide, please. So Edward Hine particularly identifies the major function of soil is not being understood. We have totally forgotten, we are totally misunderstood, we are totally deviated from understanding the real function of the soil. Soil is essentially living. It takes from the soil living tissues and it gives to the living tissue, living soil. And earlier I referred it to Venegard who, as the father of biogeochemistry, biogeochemical cycles that is pertain mainly to the soil. Soil does this biogeochemical phenomena. It has the biological support, it support from the geology, it support from the chemistry. But one particular branch, that is chemistry, that majorly dominates in understanding the soils. So all our nutrients, all our essential requirements are basically either come from the soil or from the water. Everything with respect to the earth is either soil or water, because almost 70% of the earth is covered by water, and about 25 to 30%, the rest of it is continents. So all living beings are either taking anything, if at all, if they're taking only from the soil, and the entire soil is being socially associated to that and called it as living soil. Next slide, please. So this living soil composition, living soil understanding is being deviated with the perception of the general as well, political as well, academics. How is that deviated? Soil does a major two important functions, that is production and decomposition. We regard it as soil as a production entity. We want soil to produce. We want soil to make profit from its production. But we have never bothered to understand the decomposition part of it. Soil is the only medium in nature which does both the jobs, which produces as well decomposes. In case of other entities of human endeavor, like industrial or whatever otherwise, they are only the production entities. Whatever the waste they generated, that same industry cannot make it to decompose and to be what it is otherwise. So soil is the only medium that does both the jobs, producing as well decomposing. We are seriously considered only the production function, not decomposition function. Because of this, we are entering to the major problem with respect to the urbanization, with respect to the increased population, with respect to the large food productions. Next slide, please. This is being totally neglected. Our understanding of the soil is only connected to the production, but never to the decomposition part of it. The reason why we are entering to the different era of uh, you know necessity or demanding to understand the soil in a better way. Next slide. So, how to approach this? How to go about this? Next slide, please. What is really happening in forgetting the issue of decomposition is we are now entered to a very different state of societies that uh, nearly 35 to 40% of the population is living in urban areas. So before that, the entire biogeochemical cycles of nutrition, if you take carbon and nitrogen alone, that makes many issues of understanding. So the urbanization is the major impact that is due to problem evolved by neglecting the decomposition. What has happened in the very recent assessment of 2023, the Indian urban population, about 500 plus million population, about 36% of the population is living in urban areas. There is an estimate by 2030 there will be more than 40%. And by 2050, about 900 million population will live in urban areas. What I mean to say here is that every population is, for some or the other reason, maybe for education, maybe for health, there are the major issues why the people move towards the urban areas. So that means we are concentrating the so-called developments through education and health are only in urban areas, neglecting the rural population. Because of that, the population will also move, and the sufferer is the rural areas. So this will essentially continues to happen and making the much problems than never ever. By now, why this makes a different now problem is that we have not bothered to support or to give back to the place of production. Next slide, please. See, urban, because of the urban population, say about 40% are living in urban, means every gram of food for the 40 people are coming to the urban areas. For the development of urban, we make roads. we make bridges, we make connections. We want transportation to happen properly. Because, for example, if you take Bangalore alone, more than about 50 to 100 kilometers, there is no cultivation, there is no production. Every gram of food has to travel minimum of 50 or minimum of 100 kilometers to reach the people in Bangalore area. This is the situation of every cities. Every taluk headquarters is being developed, being now. Because of this, what is happening is the major disturbance is happening to the supreme layer. That is, this is the hardest part of Earth. That is the crust. Crust disturbance is continuously being disturbed. Evolved, continuously being happening. Next slide, please. Because of this, there is a major problem we're going to encounter seriously in future. For example, I was telling earlier that crust is the hardest part. And earlier, we also now understood that only in some part of the land, it's about 5 to 10 kilometers the depth of crust. In some part, it may be 30 kilometers. Earlier, our due to the something like early 19th century or late 20th, I mean early 20th century, the crust disturbance was not so deep. It was below something around few meters. Now it is beyond kilometers. It is crossing the limits of crust disturbance. That is causing the gravitational anomalies right in southern part of India, right in Kaveri belt. The gravitation anomaly has been found out, has been recorded. In South India, which we earlier called it South India is the least disturbed due to volcanic or tectonics, that is being disturbed because of the crust disturbance. Due to the major roads, due to the major pillars for the high-tech roads, they dig almost up to a kilometer. The disturbance up to a kilometer is a major evidence for gravitation anomalies. Next slide, please. This is just a, and you may ask me, after all, the top layer is 1 meter or plus. How does it matter if you disturb the kilometer depth? It matters a lot because first is it entirely topple the topmost layer. The mass movement of the different material on Earth's surface is enormous. Million metric tons of material is being transported regularly. Mining alone, which cause a mass material transportation across the world, is more than 2,500 million metric tons. Mining alone is doing that. Our construction, the last 20 plus years construction has created more than 1,000 million metric tons of mass movement per year. This is a very different scene with respect to the soil, and entirely that is scraping the topmost layer. And in fact, the top layer, we are all very familiar with that. Soil is continuously evolving body. We are disturbing into the evolution of the soil, number one. We are disturbing into the already evolved soils, number two. Already evolved soils, we are losing what has been evolved for thousands of years, and we are disturbing for the next generation science. Most problem that will happen is the next generation soils, the next generation people will affect because of the major disturbance that is happening on Earth's surface. That's the reason why we are entering to a different kind of health scenario, that is most of the people are now obese and chronic health problems. We don't die, but we don't live happily. That is the situation because of the mass movement of the material, which creates a different kind of gravitation. One is gravitation anomaly, and secondly, with respect to soil, the very composition of the soil, it is getting disturbed, and that is now resulted in the biochemical part of its product, that is a plant and its products. Next slide, please. So because of the mass movement of the different material on Earth, that will going to create very different urban and rural dichotomies. Our urban ecosystem will suffer from the population migration, number one, and material migration. And urban, it is trying to suffer because of the accumulation, overpopulation as well. See, for example, if you take the entire after this so-called Ganesha or some Ganesha festival, particularly festivals, a series of festivals starts, and every city will get fruits, flowers, green for their flats, and every material that reaches the urban area will not go back as fertilizer. And next day after the any festival, you can see in any part of the city, particularly in the bigger cities, the next day is entire the market is getting polluted with rotting vegetation material, and it will not go back. The imbalance is that the rural is getting depleted, urban is getting populated, and both the ecosystems are not benefiting. Next slide, please. So, and secondly, in a long run, our food mile is going to be affected. We have a very important or very, what you call, um, very easy solution. Test the soil and replenish with the fertilizer. Of course, that's the only mechanism we have. We have soil testing mechanism. Every district has minimum of 2 laboratories and 1 or 2 mobile laboratories. Every department has got supporting soil testing. But soil in the soil testing, I have done thousands of soil testing done. But soil is getting passed, farmer is getting, because how soil testing is done, a single man is responsible for over 30 to 50,000 soil testing samples in this country. How can it be possible? We can't even just weigh the samples. That is the responsibility on soil testing person. So what he does, he'll just write. He will not do entirely what is to be done. Number one. Second, why he can't be caught? The simple is like blood test. Where in blood test, which is homogeneous, we can if you reproduce the result, you get the same answer. If you reproduce the soil test, you will not get the same answer. It is highly heterogeneous. When it is highly heterogeneous, when it next test is done, we are not responsible. This is how I got it. There is easy way to escape. That is number one. Secondly, there is unnecessary burden on the soil testing machinery. Crores of rupees is being dumped in calling it a soil health card and things like that. And if you ask the entire data so far since 1980s, more than 15 crore soil samples have been analyzed in this country. If you ask the machinery whether to have the data, no. If you would have had the data from last 20 plus years, or at least since 1980, almost 45 years. If you have the data, the pattern of the nitrogen, of course, they do mapping recently, but that is insufficient. And secondly, that is not the accurate result of the part what they've been called. So what I'm to in this, what is happening is soil test results are used only to as a mandatory report to get subsidies, to get loans. The way we apply while applying for any jobs, we produce our 10th marks card to prove our date of birth. Like that, for any loan application, the soil testing report is asked. So they produce a soil testing report saying that soil being tested. So if that being in that mandatory scene is just not a properly proper understanding of the soil. Number one, and secondly, and the purpose is served and just being wasted. Next slide, please. So soil testing alone cannot be the solution for understanding of the soil. How is that? Then what is the real view of the soil? Are interested only to every university has got something like a heritage site, a long-term experimentation site, the Lumstead experimentation. Since that, every university is having long-term experimentation means how long for a crop, how much fertilizer can be applied. That is the major interest of the soil site. That is insufficient in a way. With all that, the FAO report says 30% of the world soils are being degraded. And another problem is land decisions or revenue decisions. They ask for the farmer for the soil test, but the ultimate decision maker of the land is the revenue department. For any development, conversion or urban growth or SEZ or anything, it is the revenue decision. Then it's no soil understand the land use policy. There is a land use policy in the which will not have a consultation of a soil scientist. It is a revenue decision. And a continuous depletion of material in rural, and accumulation in urban is the major issue that going continuously increased every year. Next slide, please. So this urban and rural dichotomy. So how is affecting majorly with in understanding of our perception in bringing it up. So whether to feel the perception ethically or economically, we have land in our country. Land is a resource but not soil. Water is a resource but not tanks. So tank can be acquired, land can be acquired, though they don't differentiate the loss of water. That is the reason why we are depleting with respect to the groundwater. So in this dichotomy of we call land as a resource but not soil, and water as a resource but not tanks. We are losing tanks, we are losing soil. So with this dichotomy, we are living in this country. So development in modern sense is only a state agency. It's only a state agency. What is happening in the entire country is just land. So earlier in the historical development of any country for that matter, acquiring the land is the kings or the rulers or the kingdom was growing by acquiring the land. They used to be rich. Now by selling the land, people are getting rich. So ultimately, the farmers are interested for tomorrow's price. Farmers are interested how much they can get benefited for keeping it for tomorrow. So the selling it for tomorrow is the major and perception, major interest of the any landowner. So the real managers are real uh, the influencing persons are the land managers, estate agents, development agencies, and revenue department. Not the so, and we are claiming and we are depending on farmers. We are blaming on farmers entirely. Entire food. See, no organism is depending on other organism for production for their food. Every organism fights for the food, but the man is the only organism made one provision for the production of food, and rest of it will depend entirely on the. So that what I am trying to say is that one profession is majorly responsible. No, of course we can't. It is a fine, but getting the decomposition because in earlier societies, decomposition was household. Every farmhouse had backyards for their composting. Now there is no backyards. Composting has come to the main roads because for the transport, for transportation and things like that. And entire government altogether by making cities growing continuously for forever, and every gram of the food that is reached for this city is not coming out of the city to replenish back to the food, back to the soil. Next slide, please. So this is creating a very indifferent phenomenon. If you take the Bangalore together, you can see the center in this.
So voice is breaking yours.
By engulfing the villages, by engulfing, by acquiring the town is growing, and uh, that for every gram, for every people who is living inside Food has to come outside that layer, outside that territory. And once it has come, it will not go back. There is no proper system evolved in any city in India to make the waste, food waste particularly, to reach back to the original soil from where it has been grown. And this was the warning given by Justus van Liebig in 19th century itself. He wrote a letter to the mayor of London. He wrote a letter to the mayor of London in 1865 and stating that what you are seeing, the pollution in Thames, is what of the
Sorry, sir, your voice is
what
not
will
clear.
suffer. Rural.
Sir, this slide you have to explain once again, sir. This slide you have
slide
to
is,
explain once again.
yeah, I'll do that. Okay. This slide is the growth of Bengaluru from 16th century to the 21st century. The central part, what you can see, the darker part is the 16th century Bengaluru. That is during 1537. That was the only Bengaluru. And today in 21st century, this is the Bengaluru. So you can continuously, it is being marked, and how the city is growing is by acquiring the land in all the sides, north, south, east, west, in every corner it is growing. Earlier development happened in southern, now it is in northern development. So it's almost, they were, even government was even wishing to include Tumkur under Bengaluru. There was the statements, or there were discussions to call Bengaluru second Bengaluru, third Bengaluru, something like that. What I mean to share is that this is the case of Bengaluru, but it is the case of
Not audible. Last two sentence. Please repeat.
it is the case of every urban areas. In every urban area, the urbans are growing by acquiring the surrounding land, and this was, warned in the early stage of development of the soil scientists. Okay, I'll repeat. So in every development of urban area, the urban area is so-called urban because it is acquiring the rural area surrounding it. And this was warned by the earliest development of. He wrote a letter to the mayor of London, what you are finding as pollution in Thames being lost in the soils of the surroundings. This is a kind of warning he had made. And what I'm trying to tell you here is that the person who first made the entire scientific community, we have to take it as a scientific disclaimer. The development, in a sense, is associated with something, because chemically we cannot create anything. Something is happening, something is producing, means it is losing somewhere else. If unless that is balanced, that is, so this is what is required. So every production is stoichiometrically balanced. Atom is involved in production of another atom. That means there is a loss in some system, there is a gain in the some system. Unless they are balanced, the entire sustainability will never happen. Sustainability is a word for most of the development issues. It is a word for most of the development arguers. But in the real sense, particularly in agriculture, we have totally forgotten. We have never bothered to understand, never bothered to support the decomposition part of the soil system. We are only so far from last 200 years, we are only exploiting soils to produce food. We have forgotten its. See, I told in the earlier slide, soil has major important two functions. It produces as well decomposes. So we have totally forgotten. We have never bothered to pursue, never bothered to support, never bothered to honor the decomposition function. We have something around 7 agriculture universities in this state, in Karnataka. That means Karnataka is formed almost 70 plus years. So in developmental trade, if you take, there are 7 universities supporting farmers in this state. That means we are highly developed. But every city you go, you see the pollution. Every village you go, you see the depleted soils. This is the dichotomy we are ending with. This is with most developed urbanization. So that's what development is only a state agency. Earlier, a community development, community interest was different. Every family used to have one house. Now everybody is having a house. Everybody. So that is the support system is evolving with the next slide, please. So the dynamic, this was the entire dynamic of suburban and because of the urban, we have a term called suburban now. Suburban ecosystem is different. Urban ecosystem is different. And beyond suburban ecosystem is different. People who are talking about it are most urbanized people, and they really don't know the ecos are being made and presentations are being made. So another world discussion than intergovernmental in 2013. So far, something around 22 intergovernmental technical panel meetings have been happened. From the last 12 years, there are 22 meetings have happened. And more than 20 top soil scientists, top experts of different countries are representing the different regions of the world in this panel. The last meeting was held in March of this year, 2025, March 4th and 4th to 6th it was held. So the major interest of this panel is to conserve the soil, is to make the soil true in the same production system for the future generation. It has a caution, it has an important warning in order to make soil not just sustainable, at least for living for the next generations. Next slide, please. So there is, if you take the entire development of soil science, earlier soil scientists have warned, but we have totally forgotten for 200 years. The very first soil scientist who made inquiry about the soil science, about the understanding of the soil, had made a statement. And as well, he said two important things. One is climate being a very, very important factor that can write anything as it desires. So now we are worrying about the climate change. So soil has an influence of the climate, has the influence of the area, has the influence of the material, has the influence of life. So we have to unite all the factors that make this soil possible. That is our food security, water security, energy security, climate. Everything is connected to the such, and it is so unfortunate. I'm not claiming as a soil science student that everything should be given to the soil, but it is true that everything is associated with the soil. And why is that we don't really respond? In my feeling, that we every day we just walk on it and we don't see it. If you want to see it, we have to bend your head, and it's a task. It is below our foot, but above our head, that is space. We even see space science is the most what you call in a common sense is the most special science for everybody. Scientists are means ISRO scientists. The soil science is most neglected because we just walk on it. Uh, it's beneath our foot. So unless it is really taken seriously, urban growth has to be, different dialogues has to be made, and that we are going to face a very difficult. So now people are talking about soilless fertilizer, soilless agriculture. So that is definitely not going to really resolve the issue as of now, at least. Now people are talking about soilless agriculture, etc., etc. However, I don't think personally will definitely. But there was an estimate only to the tune of 15 to 20% of the total food requirement can be produced with terrace gardening or with multiple uh, these things. It's and what is that aqua this thing. So it is the major product of nature that next slide please. So it is not today. So how can we speak to the earth now? Yes, it is a time to speak to the earth, because in 1982 itself there was a Earth Summit happened in Rio. In Rio conference, they took a precautionary principle on land protection. That is as follows. It said, when in doubt, don't do it. When you want a particular piece of material, then don't do it. And another precautionary environmentalist axiom says, if I if you cannot put it back like it was before, then don't do it. Suppose if I taken some material from any of you, if I'm not able to give it back as the way it was given to me by you, then I should not take it. Unfortunately, we have making these statements as just a statement not being followed. Next slide, please. So, why I say this, we can speak to the earth means the following. We had at least made something around 15 crores soil tests in this country. We know we don't have a data. In this typical era of big data world, we are living in the big data world. 15 crore data, if you would have had 15 crore soil pH, 15 crore other nutrient data if would have had by now, we could have really talked to this soil. Unfortunately, you ask any soil testing machinery, they don't have a data. Last year's data they don't have. Simply, they might give a data, but that is not true to the value of the system that is required to understand the soil. You could have seen this picture commonly. An ant carrying a leaf. They are leaf cutting ants. It is doing a wonderful work to support the soil for its own interest. It carries the cut leaf to grow fungi, and it harvests. By doing that, it is enriching the soil. What I use this picture to conclude my words, a small creature like ant is doing so interestingly, so efficiently to make soils possible. Why not human being with so much scientific understanding, so much scientific development, so much scientific whatever otherwise you can call it. From last 200 years, the science has been essentially taken very seriously by producing various techniques, various means of understanding the still in his book Entropy, he's not solving the particular problem of essential to target. It is producing yet another problem which is intended to solve future. So every our solution is making another problem to find a way, another way to support another solution. So this is how we are entering to the we are making soil as a possible for the future generation. But it's unfortunate that it's not how it should be done. We need to make different way to make soils possible for the future generation. So, in this, with this I conclude on this World Soil Day by wishing you all a happy world. I can say happy World Soil Day, but it's unfortunately our next year will never be happier than the previous year. That's how it's been happening. So anyway, we can wish that things could be possible for the future days, and we need to take the further development in a very different manner than what is being taken. A happy soil day. Thank you so much. I'm happy to provide some space to share my views, and this is what I have. If you have any questions, I would love to take it one, and I would like to participate with discussions if the organizers permit time, something like that.
Absolutely no problem, sir. We have a lot of time. Any queries and any clarification?
No, thank you so much.
Yeah, can take
Sure,
a,
sure.
audience can ask a questions. We can take up. Sir can take up. Any question? Please unmute yourself and ask the question. One question, any tips on how to improve soil conditions in our gherkin farms? Somebody has asked.
Yeah.
In-
Essentially, major Indian soils are getting depleted with organic matter. We have to enrich any soil with organic matter. It's the most basic step for the development of for the no, the way to make soils possible for the future days. The almost majority of the soils has about less than 0.5% of the organic matter, and it is essential to have more than 1% at least. But to do that, we have exploited soils over hundreds of years, thousands of years, and to make it, we really, unless we take attention to pay attention to the improving soils with respect to the organic matter, nothing can be possible. The first way, and without testing the soil, simply we can do is that you can just continuously add good amount of organic matter, recycle the possibilities. You should know how much is really harvested and sold outside. See, because of the globalization, we are now getting everything whatever never grown in our area. That means to say, we are every city, every parts of the world, for example, most of the parts, we are getting everything. What is grown elsewhere, we are getting here. What is grown here, it is sold elsewhere. So if is only economic interest we are doing it, but for the ethical interest we need to balance. That is not being happening. To do that, only thing, the best thing without even testing the soil is to increase the soil organic matter. That's it. No need to go to the soil scientist, no need to go to the university, no need to go to consult in scientists. Just increase your soil organic matter by adding more and more of organic matter by recycling the material. That's it.
Thank you, sir. And one more question. What is the normal timeline to rejuvenate the um, decomposed soil of acre land?
It's very difficult to evaluate in time scale. Mostly about in my opinion, it takes more than 10 years. But still, people claim that about 3 to 5 years they have claimed it, they have rejuvenated. But mm, they have to the only way to understand it is your product. That means whatever you have grown on that is sufficiently healthy or not is the issue, but not the soil test. Soil test is just a just a way, but it will really not give the solution to this. In my opinion, soil testing will not help in the sense. It may give as an indicator. So I think minimum five years with serious intervention, we can make soil as at least to do something better for tomorrow.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Kavita madam, can you unmute and ask?
Yeah. Good morning, all. Janesh, I put some light on carbon depletion in soil. In recent days, that's why farmers are facing that problem. Could you please how to manage it and yeah.
Yeah. That's the first question I answered in the same question. See, carbon. See, you can increase the carbon by adding organic matter. Number one, same way. That's what I said. Organic matter instead of
Yeah, organic matter availability is less recent days.
yes.
So apart from that, like biochar application and all, like
See, that is a fashionable term. In my opinion, if you get the biochar, you have to take it, go away from. Simply, you recycle all non-economical product back to the soil is the best solution. Of course, biochar will help. That as they claim that next day it will improve your organic matter. I don't think it is possible, and it's not practically viable. That's it. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but practical problems are there.
okay.
Madam, you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, I am Kavita. I am junior to Dr. Chanesh.
Yeah, I know
studied
Kavita. She was a horticulture department. Yeah.
Anyway, welcome, madam. Thanks
Yeah.
for the participating.
And it is and farmers are facing major issue in this, and
No,
many
the problem
private
is,
companies are coming forward to like their what do you call they are forcing the farmers to go for biochar application. It is costing very high, and again input investment is more like, and yeah, farmers are like they are influencing so much because that's the need of the hour. Other alternative we are not finding. Farmers are not patient, like they don't have patience to wait for like their carbon, like their soil to be rejuvenated,
See,
and they want immediate result. So
every develop,
yeah, that's the
yeah,
problem they are
I'll come
facing.
to you. Like,
And all the private companies are like, they're looting, they're making money out of it by influencing the farmers by investing so much in the farm. So that needs to be addressed in the recent days.
Kavita, 1 minute. I understood that. Say, throughout the development of so
You are not
Voice is,
audible. Yeah.
called development of agriculture.
Not audible. Ganesh, you are not audible.
Say, the continuous input-driven agriculture is the trade of the agriculture system. But we have learned it, we have understood that is not giving a solution. But it's unfortunate, it is the only means for any so-called development. Yes.
yeah, thank you, sir. One more. Cities are
Thank you, sir.
having poisoned waste. How can we utilize it?
Yeah. One thing, Lakshmi, I'll tell you, simple. Every gram of potassic fertilizer is being imported in this country. How much effort, if any government or any universities or any scientists have made to recycle potassium, at least simplest soluble fertilizer, we
Sir, please repeat this. You are not audible
are
properly.
bothered for potassium. Okay, I'll repeat. Now I think see, every gram of potassium is imported in this country. We don't have potassic sources. It is a major fertilizer. We have not taken any serious effort to recycle potassium alone. Forget about the micronutrients. Forget about other things. Major nutrient, which is millions of tons have been imported so far, where it has gone. We are not bothered to recycle them. Universities have never bothered. Agriculture, horticulture, all departments are never bothered. Now, and all companies are. See, what I'm saying here is that we have never cared about recycling of matter. No system, no academic system, no development system, no revenue system. Nobody cared about the recycling of matter. Recycling is the only solution. And how much, see, if, for example, if you take Bangalore, in Bangalore, the human population is a 1.4 crores. The food is the food that we need to make people live for 1.4 crores is not everything is coming from minimum of 50 to 100 kilometers. And that is being dumped next day. And it's not reaching to the place where it has been produced. So this is the case of every city. This was first approached in London long ago during early 19th century. Still then the debate is going on. And by giving another, see, people are now Agricultural University of Bangalore, it is saying you apply silicon. So silicon is one of the richest element on earth. About 20% we have. So even then, by applying additional silicon, we want to make another fertilizer. See, giving a solution with see, the entire development trade in agriculture is giving another input, another seed is not the solution. So for sustainability, best solution is to recycle, make things possible, to utilize what you want, and rest of it is, see, the only solution can be is recycling, which is very, very serious. And from the last 20 plus years, only people are talking about it across the world. By giving another product, we are not solving the situation. Yes, I think
hope Janardhan has understood this. One more.
One more.
Yeah, Kantraj.
Sir,
please.
this is Kantraj from IAP. Like you may be aware already, so we work with some of the small and marginal farmers growing gherkins. We all got you a broad point of recycling and putting more organic matter into the soil. If you can just elaborate a little bit on some of the methods our farmers can involve in bringing more organic matter. So what are the different ways we can suggest the farmers to bring more organic matter into the soil?
See, of course, again, we are now making, or we are questioning this decision because we are selling our product somewhere else. Simply, the whatever is being reached to the cities. In cities, the recycling, every wet waste in every city has to be recycled back to the rural areas from where it has brought. So that is the best source. Waste generated in urban areas, that too wet waste, is the major source of organic matter which is being depleted in the rural area. Minimum of 100 kilometers. If you say, like in Bangalore, if everything wants to go back to the farming area, it has to transport this thing. So the transportation has become the issue, that unless this entire the political decisions are made, it can never be happen. Only thing is, for the farmers themselves, they can make something is possible within them, that they should recycle everything what is not available to them, what is not consumed by them, consumed by their cattle or by animals. Rest of it, even if it is consumed, including human waste, including human feces, it has to be recycled back to system, because food itself is a major consumption, and it is going as something. So only cattle, whatever the waste generated, whatever the organic matter generated in any means, has to go back to the soil.
Okay, sir. IJ would like to recognize IJ would like to recognize the presence of Sharan Angdi sir in this session. Welcome, sir. Thank you for participating. Yes, sir. One more word next, sir. Yes, sir.
No, thank you so much for organizing this.
Thank you very much for recognizing my presence. I really enjoyed the presentation. It was very comprehensive and concise. Compliments, Dr. Channesh.
Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Thank you, Sharan.
Sir, where next, sir?
Thank you, Lakshmesh. And I like Dr. Sharan Angdi said, it was a nice presentation. But you are talking about plowing back the organic residue back to the growing areas. What about the crop residue? So, the crop residue is almost with the farmer only at his place. What is the way we can plow it back into the soil to improve the organic matter? Is there any methodology?
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, for you, the question. Finish, sir.
No.
I
think your
everything which is organically produced, which is organic production, that has to be. It includes that. But the major consumers are. One example. Even crop waste also, that has to go back to the soil, unless.
Is there any sort of standard way we can plow back the crop residue? Because crop residue doesn't have to be transported back. It's always available at the field. Is there a methodology or a module which is available where we can adopt it? Something like that?
Yeah, back to the soil, and because it is very easy, because it's produced there and it can be easily made to possible to incorporate into the soil. Only thing is it has to be surface area can be increased, and then it might require sometimes adding of cellulose bacteria or lignin decomposing bacteria sometimes, but they are available in soils very much.
Okay.
But that process has to be supported. That's it.
Okay.
But nobody do it. That's another problem.
No, that's why I think as an industry, I think Lakshmi should look at it,
Yes.
I thought so. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Lakshmi, and thank you, Vinod, for organizing this. Thank you,
sir.
Dr.
Thanks for your-
Dr. Channesh. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any more questions or other? Hi, sir. What is the latest on preventing the growth of desert area in India? What is the latest on preventing the growth of desert area in India? It's somebody, Naren has asked this question. Sir, your voice mute ಆಗಿದೆ. Sorry. Hang ಆಗಿದೆ.
There is a book called Monsoons by P.K. Das. In fact, it explains why we need to understand monsoons, why we need to understand climate, because we can convert desert into Western Ghats. That's what it has a climb in it. He was one of the very famous climatologists, but unfortunately, our climatology is restricted only to collect data. That is not able to understand the patterns of the data. We are very poor in understanding the patterns of the data what we produce. First of all, our data is fake. Our data are not bothered much. Perhaps the most, even the so-called agricultural engineering departments in agricultural universities, they don't have a maths department. It's very, 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 very pathetic in entire agricultural scenario. We don't have a mathematics faculty in any agricultural universities. Though they are again doing what PUC we had learned. And we need to understand scientific data as patterns. Unless we do that, I don't think we can predict, we can learn from the history. And that is being lacking in Indian scientific scenario. And definitely politicians will never bother. Politicians will ask the agricultural universities or the scientific area. But majority of it, they say it is basic science, not an applied science. But applied science without support of the basic science, it doesn't last longer. It is a very unfortunate scenario. I have seen in many agricultural universities, though there will be maths teacher who is on contract, and there is no maths department, and they come and say, I'm not just blaming that, but in the entire scientific understanding, we do not follow the ways to understand the patterns of our knowledge. Are we using the patterns of our knowledge? Any scientist for that matter, I doubt very much. In that sense, I am saying it's very difficult to predict the kind of timeline for converting deserts into. It is possible. For example, just Salim Ali, he did a wonderful thing, like just he tried to understand only the life cycle of birds. But later, someone else, which I am unable to recall his name, he followed it by life cycle of the different birds. It yielded another pattern in understanding the monsoon. I have forgotten the name of the scientist. So what I meant to say is there is a definite link between various things Only we understand the pattern, we can able to understand. We can able to predict the entire ecosystem. See, especially agronomists are supposed to be the climatologists also. How much climatic knowledge? See, the lot of repetition data we have, like sowing or harvesting. There is a totally the entire work is mathematical. Entire work can be explained in mathematical terms. Unfortunately, that is lacking in the entire agricultural. At least the last 30 plus years I've been in science communication, which I thoroughly disappointed with that.
One more question, sir. What kind of partnership IGA can have and with whom this endeavor?
Regarding what? Partnership of what?
I don't know. Your question is not clear. Sridhar sir, can you?
Hello?
Sridhar sir, can you explain about your question, sir? Improvement in soil conditions, sir. About.
Yeah. See, the one thing, best thing you can do, you continuously monitor the farmers or whoever you have a network, and try to understand the pattern. You have the data for, see, what normally how data is taken is test the soil and forget it after recommending it. No, not that way. Whatever you recommend, whatever the yield. See, even in hospitals means any regular clinical hospitals, no doctor will follow the pattern of their patient. That's what major Western universities are doing. Clinic is one of the major hospitals which understand the pattern of the disease in the endemic areas or epidemiology. So we need to understand the pattern. So the best way I feel is you have the long-term association what we have with the farmers, and try to understand the pattern, and particularly with minute details. If you can able to identify, perhaps you can able to have your own decisions on the betterment of the future.
Any more questions from the audience, please?
That's a guess, of course. Of course.
Hopefully, I think no other questions are coming out. But everybody is asking one thing, sir. This Bangalore organic manure is poisoned the rural cultivated area. The organic matter transported from village to Bangalore, and if you come back to the villages, it is been polluted. Can we use that?
Yes. That's what there is improper segregation. Even at home, if you segregate and leave it outside, or ask the people to take it out, they will again mix it. See, this is the problem. I'm telling you the same. See, this should have been started much earlier, but unfortunately, with the war, but whenever the segregation can be made proper, this is going to be the problematic, because every paper will have printed in this country. If someone is going to what you call airport, and throughout the airport, on the way, there may be so many fluxes to either welcoming him or say bye to him or something like that. And that has to be stopped. This is adding lead to the soil. After next day, it will reach the So that's the bad part of it.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Channesh, this is Vinod, the President, Indian Gherkin Exporters Association. From Indian Gherkin Exporters Association, we definitely do understand the importance of soil fertility. and our companies are even financing the farmers for purchasing organic manure, and we are also encouraging the farmers to do their own organic manure. Can you suggest some ingredients for fastening the process of preparing the organic manure?
Yeah. Perhaps they can add these cellulose decomposers and as well lignin decomposers. And I don't know the source from which
Sir, you're not
perhaps
audible.
universities are producing. Just is they can what I can do, what I should do for that. I can once again repeat it. See,
Yeah, please.
best is they should add fresh dung to the as a inoculant. They can make fresh dung as use it as an inoculant to the decomposing pit. That is the best way. On their own, they can do it without depending on any other sources. With that, if they add little bit of jaggery and some source of carbohydrate, that will enhance the cellulose production, cellulose decomposing organisms.
What about
Hello.
this trichoderma and pseudomonas and all, which some people are recommending?
They are also good. They can use them and enhance them, and they can use them as an inoculant and multiply in a large scale also. Multiply in the sense they can treat with some small heap and use that as a bigger inoculant, and they can do it. They can do it that also. It is also useful, of course. But what I said is, every farm they will have their own animals. Just fresh dung, they mix it with water, sufficient water, and some jaggery and some source of carbohydrate, particularly the Bengal gram flour, is good to enhance the microbial production. That will help. What I'm saying, use it, they can make their own inoculates.
Lakshmesh, maybe our agri committee can make a small video on this and try to circulate to our farmers as we have done for fruit fly. That might be helpful for them.
Yeah, can be done, sir. Not a problem. Detailed, yes, we can do what are the ingredients to be added to enhance the decomposition very faster, like what is suggested about lignite and this cellulose decomposers. Adding to that, adding some stars like Bengal gram powder with a jaggery, that will going to enhance the decomposition. That we can make a video and we can circulate for the benefit of the farmers, IGA farmers, for sure.
Yeah. Not only for the IGA farmers, it's for the farmer community at large.
Yeah, yes. Any more questions, sir? If not, I think it's a time to conclude. I request IGA President to have a closing remarks.
Thank you,
Yes, sir.
Dr. Chanesh, for enlightening us about the soil health. And thank you all for having attended this program. So as IGA will definitely take interest in improvement of the soil health. And as I have already mentioned to Lakshmi, a video will be made and circulated to our farmers and to other farmers also. So we understand the importance of soil health, and we will try to maintain a very good soil health for our future. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Once
Thank
again,
you.
thank you all for your participation and thank you, Dr. Chanesh, sir, for your words.
Thank you, Lakshmi. Thanks for everyone to have patient listening. I hope I am useful to something. Thank Thank you so much.
There's also Dr. Channesh is a very good communicator and also writes a lot of books, and scientific articles used to circulate in WhatsApp and YouTube channels. And sir, I can share your YouTube channel link and your articles what you publish in CPA US. It can be helpful for our staff and farming
Yeah,
community.
yeah. In
And
fact, over 50 or 60 plants I have covered in YouTube individually, like for example, potatoes or tomatoes. How they have come to humanity was the topic of the presentation in any. So kindly, that is the card as you can share, please.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you once again.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.